Hey everyone, this is your favorite radio host, your only radio host, and favorite girl, of course, Corinne Lafont, broadcasting to you from the lovely island of Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean on Between the Lines. And I have with me a handsome man in front of me. All my guests are always good looking. Don't you realize that? They're always good looking. I'm telling you, the women are beautiful and the men are just handsome. So please don't get jealous, or should you get jealous, then you need to get on my show. Okay, so I always thank the universe, the one who is the higher being, whatever you want to call it, term it, name it, or him or her. I'm always thankful, and I'm thankful for seeing another day, being here, being above ground. All my faculties intact, I think. It's clicking and clocking. And it's just great to have another day, a do-over, a start over. I know that there's some challenges ahead of me. I saw some things come into my email to kind of stir me up and get me all worked up, but I am not going to take it on. It is all going to work out for the greater good. Don't we all know that? So I am so thankful. And I see my guest is wearing his US Coast Guard shirt. Just spot that there. He's looking quite dapper. Even though he could have been dressed more appropriately, he's looking fine. So let me tell you a bit about Dr. John McGrail. And what we're talking about today, we're talking about finding your soulmate. And off air, he told me a while ago that he found his soulmate. They have been together for about 23 years, and he has helped his other clients do the same. So clearly, by the end of this interview, by the end of 30 minutes or a little bit more, I always spend more time on my show. He is going to help me and all the women, and of course the men, find their soulmate. What are we not doing right? What are we not looking for? Or we are looking for in the wrong places, whatever it is. So Dr. John McGrail is more than a clinical hypnotherapist. He's an established self-improvement expert and a sought-after spiritual teacher who has become one of the country's leading media experts and public speakers relating to personal growth and successful life transformation. His company, A Better You Incorporated, serves a worldwide clientele, individuals of all ages and backgrounds, as well as select corporate clients. Services range from individual sessions, so like one-on-ones, to motivational presentations, training seminars, and workshops. And later on, we're going to showcase his website. He's going to be mentioning his book, etc., etc. You know how it works on Between the Lines. So welcome, Dr. McGrail, on Between the Lines.
Thank you, Corinne. Thank you for having me. It's delightful.
Yes. What are you doing with a U.S. Coast Guard shirt?
Well, I was a U.S. Coast Guard officer and aviator and flew for 4 years in your neck of the woods down through the islands in the Caribbean. I was based in Miami, Florida.
Nice. Oh, and that shirt always looks good. It does something to a woman. So that's the first thing. Find it right away. When you see that Coast Guard thing written U.S. Coast Guard or the military uniform, we get weak. I don't know what it is, but we just like to see a man. We like to see a man in uniform. They're just, I don't know, it's just the discipline, the look, the cleanness, everything just looks sharp. But we really are afraid of those guys in uniform. I'm telling you, we really are.
Well, that was many, many years ago, I assure you.
Yeah, but you still look great. You still look great. Like you could pass for any one of those young guys. I'm telling you.
That's very kind of you to say.
So listen, we're talking about finding your soulmate. First to begin, let's talk about what is a soulmate. Does it really exist? Is it when people say love at first sight? What is really a soulmate?
Well, there are a lot of ways of thinking about it, but I think a soulmate, the easiest way to define it so that it actually means something is that you find someone who really shares your core values. And core values are those attributes of life that you must have in order to feel good about whoever it is. You have core values for your career, you have core values for the friends you have, and there are a set of core values you have for your relationships. So it's not filling a void within you, it is matching. And when you find someone whose core values match yours, then the relationship is virtually effortless. And that's what I consider a soulmate. And I believe that we all have many soulmates. There's not just one person on the planet out of 7.3 billion people that could be your mate. It could be very discouraging trying to find that one person. I think there are many.
Yes,
But so
because
often
when we think of, oh my God, where am I going to find that one guy out
it
of
doesn't
almost
work that
8
way.
billion? Yeah. Oh my God, I'm doomed. Let me join the nunnery. You know, what is going to
Exactly.
happen? Yeah, it's hard. And where is he? Where is he? But like I was saying to a young woman last night at an event I was at, I said, you shouldn't be looking. We women are supposed to be looking and searching and finding. He is going to come to you. You are going to get to him somehow. I don't know. The universe is just going to put things in place. Things are going to just fall in place that you are going to attract each other just based on where you are at the moment in your life. Because you mentioned earlier filling a void. We're not supposed to be filling a void. So if you're not 100% whole as a person, you're not ready yet. You're still in formation. So you're not going to attract that person. You might end up attracting the wrong person into your life and having, keep repeating the same cycles with men and, vice versa, with women. So that's one of the things I want to mention in terms of a soulmate, that void. I want you to talk about that void that people seem to keep filling or looking for somebody to fill and then thinking that's their soulmate.
Right. And that's exactly the opposite of a true soulmate. Unfortunately, many of us, all of us, have insecurities at some level or another. Very few people escape growing up and becoming adults without some stuff, as I call it.
Mm-hmm.
And we feel there's a void. If we have this deep insecurity, low self-esteem, there's a void within us. And if we meet someone that's attracted to us, we feel whole. And I can guarantee you, anytime you hear anyone, whether it's a man or a woman, say, he or she is the other half of me or the half of me that's
Yeah,
been missing, they are absolutely doomed because, as
yeah.
you said, they're filling a void within them. And if that person leaves, which usually is the case, now you still have the holes. But as you also said, and very accurately, if you do the work that you need to do to complete yourself so that you feel not just whole, but confident and self-loving, honoring and respecting,
Mm-hmm.
you begin to comport yourself with a completely different energy. And people uh, receive that energy. They can detect that energy. It's very subconscious and subliminal. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, you will meet that person. The universe will bring you together, but you have to be ready. And when I work with clients that have these basic insecurities about themselves, that's what we work on to get them ready, to get them completely in love, honor, and respect with themselves,
Mm.
not needing a relationship, but wanting. There's a big difference between
Yeah.
needing one or feeling you need one and wanting. You can
Yeah.
want all you want. That's great. But if you need it, you have problems.
Desperation kicks in there. Desperation. No,
Yes.
you mentioned working with them to get ready. A lot of us are not even aware of those unhealed wounds on those areas that create the void within us. And besides not knowing, even if we do suspect or we feel what it may be or sense what it may be, we are afraid of going there.
Yes.
How do we capture it? Because a lot of people are afraid of being alone. I mean, it's so bad that even for me, I mean personally, when you tell people, have you dated yourself? Do you date yourself? They're like, no, how the hell? That can't happen. No,
Hmm.
they just they can't fathom the thought of dating themselves, taking themselves out for dinner, sitting alone, eating dinner, nice, lovely dinner, or taking themselves to the movies and sitting alone and eating popcorn, hot dog, and a drink. They just can't do that, or just going somewhere alone because it just seems weird. I'm supposed to have company. I should have company. And you
Right.
find yourself still searching for that. How do you get over that? Because most, if not all of us, are dealing with that. And what is really the unhealed wound that's causing that?
Well, there are probably a lot of different reasons that you can feel that way, but usually it's, first of all, we are essentially formed in early childhood. The first 8 years of life is when a human being is essentially programmed for who they're going to be as adults. And, you know, many of us, again, are not treated the way that we would hope a young child would be treated, with a lot of love and support and encouragement. Very often kids are disparaged and demeaned by well-meaning but misinformed parents who are just, quote, trying to help them, buck up and be better. But there are many reasons for feeling that, but it's absolutely true. You have to be comfortable with yourself, with being with yourself, in order to find a person that is going to be an easy fit for you. And I know it sounds counterintuitive, but that is absolutely correct. You have to be good with yourself in every way, and that includes being in your own company without anyone else and not feeling lonely. I call it being with yourself, not alone. There's a difference.
Yes.
And that loneliness is again, it's neediness. What's missing from me that I need someone to fill that gap? You have to fill it. And it's important to say that most people need help in doing that. And that's another thing, that there's this horrible stigma in our society about getting help for these sort of issues. If you have a toothache, you go to the dentist. If you bang up your car, you take it to the mechanic. But God forbid, if there's something in your mind, emotionally or behaviorally, that's bothering you, that's holding you back, we have this thing that we're supposed to suck it up and just get through it and do it on our own. And unfortunately, the way the mind forms and works, it doesn't work that way.
Wow. That is a lot of work, and sometimes it takes, well, not sometimes, it takes years and years, because you're talking about damage that would have been done in the first 8 years or even more, that has ingrained in our system without our free will, because we are at the mercy of our parents. So we have no idea, and to go back, like I say, in the depths of our soul, heart, etc., spirit, to figure out what it is. Why am I feeling this way? Why am I attracting the same kind of guy, same kind of woman, finding myself, not settling down? Then, of course, you have the societal pressures of, you're aging. No, you're an older woman.
Exactly.
You're just under pressure right around. Your female friends, your friends are getting married, having children, and you're still there. Your society is expecting much of you. My God, I think, as a woman, you just need to say, listen, all of y'all could go to hell. I really don't care what anybody thinks. I just need to work on me. I don't care what the church thinks. I don't care what my family thinks. I don't care what my workplace thinks. I don't care what society thinks. This is me, and I need to walk my own journey, no matter how long it takes. I have recognized this is what I've been attracting. If you're an aware person, this is what I have been attracting, and I need to put a stop to it. This is not what I want for my life, and I need to do something. And I don't know where you can go, whether it's a coach like yourself or a psychiatrist. I don't know. How could you overcome this thing?
Well, there are 3 steps involved. First of all, you have to acknowledge that you have an issue, which is very difficult for some people. That we love to place blame on the outside, but the truth of the matter is we are creating our own reality. So you have to say, okay, this isn't working. I don't feel good, and whatever I've done on my own hasn't worked. So once you acknowledge it, then try not to ignore it, because that's the second thing people do. They try to just make believe it isn't there, and it is there, and then realize that you're going to need assistance. And it doesn't have to take years and years and years to undo what's happened. Most of my clients are with me from about 2 to 6 weeks, and we've completely readjusted their self-attitude. So we reestablish, as you said, I don't care about anybody else. I'm on my journey. I'm going to live my journey my way. That's called self-esteem. And when we get our self-esteem back, because we're born with tons of it, and then they beat it out of us. When we get that self-esteem back, we really don't care what other people think. We really can live our journey. And that is a big part of becoming that whole unneedy person that we talked about a little bit ago. And when you get rid of that neediness and you get very comfortable with who you are, how you're living your life, the choices you're making, the people you're relating to, hopefully you love doing what you do for a living, that's when or by the way, it works the same for men. I work with men on these issues as well, but that's when you can find Mr. or Ms. Right and begin living happily ever after. And I went through it myself, and it was only after I got that help that I met one of my soulmates who, as I said, or you mentioned, is still there 23 years later.
Wow. Now, could you reach the point, Dr. McGrail, of being so comfortable with yourself, singlehood, you're chilling, you're good, then you don't need anybody. You're like, I'm good. I don't need anybody. You are coming to disrupt my life here right now, and I don't need that.
Well, that is certainly possible. And I suppose some people do grow beyond wanting a relationship. They get so comfortable with themselves, they really don't care to have a relationship. And that's fine if that's what they want. But I think most of us really do like to be in a relationship. And I can think of nothing better than a good partnership where you're friends, you're spiritually connected, you're lovers, and you also have enough self-identity so that you have your self-time, that you have other activities that you do apart. That's when it really becomes magic, because you bring this wonderful sharing together. You're confident and esteem yourself enough to be apart and do other things and be your own person. Which allows you to continue making the relationship dynamic and building it. And it takes effort, but I think most of us do like it. But sure, you could grow out of the fact that you say, you know what, I don't even want to bother. And that's fine. If you're happy, you're happy. Who cares?
Yeah, who cares? That's really the end of the whole thing. Who cares? I am happy
Exactly.
because you don't really want to be looking for happiness in another being or in an external, whatever it may be, whether it's
It
human.
doesn't work.
No, no. So if at the end of that, let's call it transcendence, that journey of your of knowing who you are, what you're about, you're solid, you're in a good job or you have your own business, you're financially secure, you get, I mean, you're good.
Yes.
You're good. And you may be at a point where you say, hey, companionship may work for me. I want to date, meaning that I can call up John and say, hey, John, would you want to go out so and so with me? But there's no commitment. There's no relationship necessarily. You're just going out as friends. You just need somebody to go out with. I wouldn't even want to say need. Let me not use that word. But it would be nice company. Could that work if somebody has reached a point where they really don't want a relationship, but yet they can call up a friend and say, hey, let's go so and so if they want to? Could that happen?
It not only can happen, it does often. I've got friends that are older. They've, been through whatever it is they've been through, and they don't really want that committed relationship. I would say that's the minority, not the majority. I think most people like to have a partner in life and like to share and do want a committed relationship. But sure, anything is possible. The one thing about human behavior that I've learned in all the years I've been doing this is that there's no pigeonhole or compartment that you can fit people into. And that's one of the things that I don't like about traditional psychology, is that it tries to pigeonhole behaviors in people. And we're much too dynamic a creature to do that.
Yeah.
So, what I say is if you're happy, you're happy. If you're satisfied with the way your life is going, great. But if you want more, and you're willing to do the work on yourself so that you are ready for someone to have that wonderful partnership, and it is truly a partnership, it's never 50-50, by the way, then if you do the work, there's no reason you can't find him or her. And like I said, there are many soulmates for everybody. I've met two of mine. The first time I met one, I was married to someone else, my first marriage. Wow. So I couldn't take advantage of that one. But then when I got rid of that first marriage, which was terrible, and fixed myself, then my second Miss Right walked into my life. So
are they soulmates, you would think? Or because you said things went wrong with the first one? Because when you're conjuring up a picture of your soulmate, you think, okay, you're connected. You said it's a match. It's like a perfect match. What you have interests or your values, your core values match with that person. So your first wife, things may have been going well at a certain point, and then things started to go in a different direction. Is she really a soulmate? Or was she?
Oh God, no. My first wife was the opposite of a soulmate. We married out of insecurity and neediness, and as I said before, I had major issues, and so my first marriage was codependency, which is the opposite of soulmates.
Wow.
But when that ended, thank God it did. Then I said to myself, okay, I've got to do some work on myself. I'm not feeling good. I was very needy in those days and very insecure.
Wow.
And I went and got the assistance that we're talking about. I worked with someone very much like me, and she helped me get rid of all that stuff I had been carrying around, all the insecurities, and reestablish my self-esteem. So I really didn't care anymore. And it was a matter of a very short period of time before I met the woman of my dreams, who had done the same work on herself. As I said, it's got to be two people that really feel good about themselves. And when that happens, it's magic.
You talk about codependency and insecurities, which a lot of us or most of us carry, to find that match, that soulmate. Tell me a bit, if you don't mind sharing your personal experience on what was some of the things that you noticed about yourself that you took a step back after your first marriage and
Hmm.
said, no, I need to work on myself, which is as you said earlier, a major step, because to acknowledge that you needed to work on you instead of blaming your wife, because I guess you
Right.
probably went through that too, the blaming of your wife for this not going right or that not going right. What are some of the things? Because I want for you to mention what was happening to you, what you notice about yourself, because people will be listening to this, and I want them to be able to relate with what you're saying. So let's talk in
Okay.
definitive terms here.
Well, I grew up in a very, very dysfunctional household. My father was an alcoholic, and he slowly drank himself out of his marriage, his job. And I was a little boy growing up with a single parent, my mom, who was a terrific parent. But nonetheless, by the age of 7, there was no man in the household. So I grew up extremely insecure, needy. I had this incessant need to be popular and accepted, because not only did I lose my dad, but I was short when I grew up. And so I was teased incessantly by my schoolmates. Even though I was one of the smartest or the smartest kid in class, I was a very good athlete. I was naturally gifted with talents. I could do things well. I was teased for it. So I was a really insecure little kid, and I grew up that way. I grew up being needy and needing to be popular and needing to be accepted. And that's what I brought into my first marriage. And of
Wow.
course, as we talked earlier, you cannot fill that void with another person. It just doesn't work. We also had very different values. But I got married because I thought, well, this is probably as good as it's going to get for me. It's the best I can do. And I thought it's better than being alone, which is one of the reasons I stayed with it for so many years. And then finally, thank God, and I do thank the Creator, I finally got the guts to say, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore. I've had enough, because it really did get untenable.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was pretty simple for me to realize that, hey, you've got these issues, guy, let's do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not hard to recognize it if you want to be honest with yourself. And so then I decided to do the work, because I really was not going to let myself get into another one of those. It was
Wow.
really not fun most of the time.
Being
So that's my story.
being honest with yourself.
You
That's
have to be.
that's significant. A lot of people are not honest. And if I didn't know you and I was watching your relationship, and let's say I came to you and I said, John, this is what I noticed. You might be ready to defend, which is what most people do. They defend, what's going on. They
Oh, yes.
they come you would come at me and say, why don't you watch what's going on in your relationship? You know,
Right.
and start to project at me.
That is certainly possible. Many people, because of their insecurities, don't want to admit that there's something wrong.
Mhm.
And, it's very, very simple. Ask yourself a simple question. Am I content?
Mhm.
Do I feel that this relationship is nourishing me and that I want to nourish it? Do I want to do the work to keep it alive? And do we have similarities? Are we compatible? Do we have common interests? Are we okay being apart? It's not really hard to sit down and do an assessment and say,
Mhm.
how do I feel about this? And if you're happy, great. But if you're not, then either the two of you have to decide to do the work together to fix it. And that's doable, but it's very difficult usually, particularly if there's a mismatch in core values. Then you owe it to you've got two choices. You can stay in the painful relationship, which I did for many years because I was so insecure, or you can say, you know what, I deserve better. I believe that every single human being deserves to have the life they want. And that's why I do what I do, because I
Exactly.
work across the behavioral spectrum. And that includes a healthy, happy, abundant relationship.
Yeah. I'm hearing you saying like attracts like, but
Oh, yes.
but we have been brought up on opposites attract.
Well,
Explain that.
in that,
Explain that. Explain that with the soulmate thing, because when you're looking for someone or somebody's looking for you, whichever one, or you find yourself, you're like, oh yeah, we share this in common, but sometimes it may be too boring if we share too many things in common. And it, as opposed to diversity where I can learn from you, you can learn from me. What really is the balance? Is it like attracts like or opposite attracts? What?
Well, opposites do attract, and there's a spectrum of where there's a spectrum of human behaviors and values, and if you and when you first meet someone that you're physically attracted to, Mother Nature, because we are born to reproduce, creates a maelstrom of hormones, and that storm of hormonal activity can cover up a lot of faults, and it does end, but in the beginning, if you have two polar opposites in the beginning, they are going to have this incredible tempestuous, amazing relationship. Most of it's based on the physical side of things, and of course when that subsides, and like every hurricane, you're down in the islands, the hurricanes come and they go. When they're there, it's terrible, and then when they're gone, everything's peaceful again. Well, when that hurricane of hormonal activity ends, which it always does, then you're left with the aftermath. And then very often that's when people find out that they are very much polar opposites, and that's when the conflict begins. If you can find two people who are a little bit more balanced, that have just a nice balance, again, core values is the key. Core values are the attributes that you must have, like honesty, integrity, monogamy or not, kids or not, money can be a core value or not. If those fit, then the differences you have are much easier to compromise. But if you get two polar opposites together, in the beginning, it's going to look great. But when it falls apart, it's going to be really, really bad as well.
Wow. What are some of the signs, or signs not meaning necessarily tangible physical, that you feel within yourself as well when you,
of course you,
when you're finding that soulmate, or when you think that soulmate is in the room or somewhere over there? What do you look for? What do you feel for?
Well, the first thing, of course, is you feel how you feel, and in the beginning of any relationship, you feel terrific. But this does take some time, so it's important to realize that it's not going to happen instantly. The instant attraction is there, and then as you get to know the person, you're sort of looking to see how their values match with yours, and over time, you find that this is just so easy. I guess that's the easiest way to describe it. This is just so easy. We think alike. We have the same things. We both want kids or don't want kids. We both want a committed single relationship. We don't want a modern open relationship. We both want. We feel the same way about the monetary situation. And so it begins to unfold, and you realize that you're very, very comfortable. You're very much in love. The hormones are still raging. When you're not apart, the apart time is just as good as the together time. You love being together, but you're okay being apart. So it just sort of plays out over a period of time, usually not very long. The red flags that you see when it's not right don't pop up. And you realize the compromises you have to make, because you always have to make compromises. There's no relationship on the planet that doesn't require some compromise, but you realize the compromises that you have to make are easy. When you're not in that kind of a relationship, you make those compromises early on anyway, thinking that, oh, he or she, he'll see the light, I'll fix him. No, they won't, and you won't. I spent 14 years waiting for my first wife to see the light. It never happened. And she was a nice woman. She was a very nice woman. We just didn't belong together. We fed off one another's insecurities, and it was just not a good match. It wasn't that she was evil, or we just did not belong together.
Yeah, so that's good. And I'm sure you all are friends now. You all talk and share. Do you still talk with her and have that amicable sort of?
No, actually, we do not, and I'm fine with that. We went our separate ways, and I think that was the best course.
That was the best course
for us. Yeah. Again, everybody has different sensibilities about that. Some ex-mates can stay friends, and we didn't have any kids, so we didn't have to worry about that part. But it's best for us that we went our separate ways and stay that way.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. Wow. I mean, it's so funny. I mean, relationships is one of the most tumultuous type of things that a human being can go through. You can go through anything else, but when it comes to emotions, really, you talk a hurricane, that is really what you go through and the aftermath.
Yes,
It really does a mind job on you, a body job on you, every job on you. You know, it just it just takes your whole being. You know,
yes,
some people are a bit apprehensive going into relationships after being hurt a number of times. You know, and
yes.
they're not prepared to give of themselves again. How do you help persons to get over that? Because they may have, like with you, did not meet their soulmate before, and because of the hurt and the pain, and they're not willing to take that step again, they may miss that soulmate. What do you say?
Well, what has to happen, of course, is you have to heal from the pain, and it goes right back to where we started. You have to be willing to do the work that you need to do on yourself to feel whole again.
Mm,
And when you recapture or rediscover that power, you don't give it up. One of the things that happens in relationships where there's a, a, a repeated cycle of disappointments is that you keep trying to find someone to fill the hole in you, and it doesn't happen. And so over and over and over again, you get hurt. But once you reconsolidate your power, your self-esteem, and feel really good about yourself, you never give that up again.
yeah,
I call it sharing the power. You'll share it with someone, but if they begin to abuse it or take advantage of it, you just pull right back and say
that,
sorry. And that way you can never get hurt as badly again. It's impossible. So that it makes it much easier for you to be vulnerable and to give, and you're much more aware of the negative signs, the red flags. And if it begins to go sideways or the person begins to take advantage of it, you just say sorry, that's it, I'm done. You don't let it get to the point where you're devastated again. And of course, when you meet your soulmate, that doesn't happen, because you get
yeah.
two people who want to make the relationship work. They would never take it for granted or take advantage of it, because they know the other person would just say bye.
Mhm, mhm,
So
mhm.
it's that process, and I work with that all the time. I just finished with a lovely young woman, 34 years old, and has had a series of disappointing relationships. And over the course of 5 or 6 weeks, I guess it was, she's reconsolidated her power, and she's out dating and feeling really good about herself. But she's coming at it from a completely different energy.
Yes,
It's not needy anymore. It's like, okay, let me see if there's somebody out here.
yeah. It's setting boundaries. I like to call it setting boundaries. You know,
Yes, that's a perfect way to describe it.
yeah, you have to set boundaries and you have to stay firm in, and convicted about it. Don't compromise. And a lot of men, like, I mean, I'm speaking from a woman's perspective, would think, oh, you just have too much of high standards, and they want you to step down to their standards and compromise, to meet them where they are, when really they are the ones who are supposed to step up. And it works both ways too. A man will have his standards, a woman needs to step up. I know what I've been through, and some of them would look at you, the men would look at you and say, oh, you have baggage, you have issues, I don't want to be with you, you're too much, I can't. When a woman hears that, it could be a turn off for her and make her feel, oh, I really need to probably compromise. These guys, I'm not getting anybody. So you're still, even just listening to myself say that, you're still coming from a needy point.
Yes. Yes. In a healthy relationship, the compromises are easy. If a relationship requires you to compromise a core value, then you are in for a very, very rough ride, and it's probably doomed. That's it. I mean, I don't mean to be too simplistic, but I have found that over and over and over again.
Hmm.
When your core values fit, the compromises are easy. And the relationship is virtually effortless compared to what it's like trying to keep one of the other ones together.
Wow.
uh, and you get two people that cherish the relationship, they cherish their partnership, they cherish what they have because it feels so good,
Yeah.
and therefore they're willing to work to keep it going and
Yeah.
to make it work over a long period of time.
One of the things, I mean, just to round up, I've always said to people, you feel it. You have something called intuition, gut instinct, whatever
Yes,
you want to call it. You were born with this. God gave you, uh, what do you call it? A sensometer, something, whatever you want to call it, that
yes,
tells you, it rings in your system. You
Yes.
hear the ding, ding, ding. This doesn't feel right. Your whole being does not resonate with it. Do not force it. Do not try to change it. Follow it, because it's
Yes.
the one thing that leads you in the right place. And when you spoke about being easy, this is what I tell people, and I know for myself. I'm not supposed to be working at a relationship. And some people say you're supposed to work at I'm like, no, it's supposed it's supposed to be easy. I'm not supposed to be working, because just the whole thought of working makes me feel that I like a job. I need to be stressed out. I need to be under pressure. No, it's supposed to be easy. I'm not supposed to feel like the hurricane, the ins and the outs, the eye of the storm, the outside circle. I'm not supposed to be feeling that. It's supposed to be an easy process. And just like you said, when challenges do come, because challenges will come, differences of opinion, differences of thought, because of who we are as whole beings and the level that we are and the level of awareness, it brings a sort of maturity to it that each person can respect each other. Dr. McGrain, I think you have just frozen. Are you with me? Yes, I was. Yeah, I think you were frozen a while ago. I don't know what happened, but I'm glad you came back in. So
Yes. Well, I never left.
you never left. Well, it brought you back in. So I was saying, I don't know if you caught that part. I'm saying that, relationships should be easy. I'm not supposed to be feeling like the eye
That's
of
right.
a storm, and feeling like I'm supposed to work at a relationship. You hear these limiting beliefs and people putting these thoughts in your head telling you you're supposed to work at a relationship. Why should I be working at? I'm not
Right.
supposed to do that. I'm working in a job. I'm working in my business. Why should I come home to work in a relationship? No.
Right. And that doesn't mean that there's not effort involved, because no two people are completely compatible 100% of the time, 24 hours a day. But it shouldn't be work. It should be a joy to
Yeah.
support your partner, and to as I said, the compromises should be easy.
Mhm.
If they are painful, and you mentioned that intuition, that sixth sense, I call it inner vision. That's how it was taught to me by a Native American shaman. That is a gift that we have all been given. The problem with most of us is that we've forgotten how to use it, because we rely on outside sources for all our information. And if you take the time to tune into that inner vision, that gut sense, that intuition, whatever you want to call it, it cannot give you bad guidance. Then you just have to
Never,
learn to trust it. And
never,
when never. And
never.
anytime, so when you hear yourself saying, "Oh, I knew I shouldn't have done that,"
Ah,
that was your inner vision
and it's
talking to
telling
you,
you.
and you didn't pay attention.
That's right. That's our inner child. That is the little being within us that is
Yes.
there protecting us every step of the way.
Yes.
It's God as a little child, I think. That's how I see it inside of us, each one of us, that tells
Yes.
us, don't do this, it's going to hurt me. It's protecting you. It's protecting
Yes.
you every step of the way. Don't eat that. Sometimes you see something nice, John, and you really want to have it, but somehow you just feel it's going to make you upset. And you're like, no, but I love chocolate cake. And you go and you buy it for life. At the end of the day, you're upset. And you're like, I knew I shouldn't have eaten it.
Exactly.
So just follow that and talk to it, because it wants you to talk. It's you. It's a little you inside. It wants you to talk. It's your inner being, and it looks
Right.
out for you every step of the way. Oh my God! And I think when we talk about the unhealed wounds and those insecurities, it's because it was quiet. It was put into submission as a child. It was, as you said, beat out of us. It
Yes.
was beaten out of us, and so that inner child was put to stay quiet, don't talk, but it has a little flicker, that little voice still shows up at the moments when you need it.
It's always there. When I was marrying my first wife, I knew
Mm-hmm.
I had that inner voice was screaming at me, "This is
Yes,
a mistake. This is a mistake." But because of my insecurities, I went through with it anyway, because,
yeah,
as I said before, I thought, well, this is as good as it's going to get.
yeah.
And so it gets back to that other thing, is that we have to fix that. If you have that feeling about someone,
Mm-hmm.
it's for a reason.
Yeah,
If you have
yeah.
that, this isn't really right, but I'm going to hang in there because I can't do any
No,
better. No,
no,
no, no, no, no,
no,
don't.
no, no.
It can only end in disaster.
That's right. Follow the gut feeling. So if person's listening to this and will be listening to this, didn't learn anything. Just follow that gut feeling, that intuition. It's there to guide you. Believe in it, trust it. It
and
never steers you wrong.
and learn to tune into it with a
Yeah.
pure signal, because you can get static from the outside world. And the only way that I know to do that is to take some time every day in quiet reflection, meditation, if you will.
Yes.
And that really, really helps you tune into that inner voice that will never, ever give you bad guidance, ever.
I love meditation. I love quiet. I cannot take noise, Dr. McGrail, honestly, because I want to be able to hear when God is talking to me, when my spirit is, I need to hear that. When there's so much noise going around, you can't hear it, you can't even hear yourself. Come on.
Exactly.
Yeah, I
And
like
that's,
peace and quiet.
yes.
So let's hop across to your website now. Let's have a look there and see what's going on with your books. Tell me your website.
Well, I have two. There's one for my clinical hypnotherapy practice, which is Hypnotherapy Los Angeles, all one word, hypnotherapylosangeles.com. And then there is one that's more geared toward the other part of my business, which is the Dr. John teacher, guide, coach, which is drjohnmcgrail.com.
Hold on.
And my synthesis process.
Okay, so let's do the hypnotherapy. Hypnotherapy Los Angeles written out?
Yes, all
.com.
one word.
Mm-hmm. I think I may have spelled it wrong. So it's Hypnotherapy Los Angeles. HYPNOTHERAPHY LOSANGELES?
Yes.
I'm not getting it.
Oh my goodness.
It says it can't be reached. Do you need to put www in front of it? Let me try that.
You may, because you're offshore.
Nope, it's not working either.
Oh, isn't that interesting? Well, let me just take a look and see if it's working out here in California.
And what's the other one in the meantime? Dr. John McGrail?
drjohnmcgrail.com, yes.
Yeah, bring that one up until you see what's happening with the other one. Is there a link from Dr. John McGrail to hypnotherapy?
Yes.
How do we hop across? Hold on, let me share the screen with you so you can guide me once.
Well, I can't see you.
No, hold on. You'll see it. There we are.
Okay, it's very, very small on my phone, so this may or may not work. But if you, let's see.
So we're on the home page there. I see.
Try going to click Work with Dr. John button. And if you do, you might see the link to him.
I'll see what it is. Something different.
I'm getting my hypnotherapy. Yeah. Well, like I said, you might see the link. I know. Yeah. Click on clinical hypnotherapist, perhaps. Hypnotherapy Los Angeles is coming up on my computer out here in California.
It's not coming up here because it redirected me to clinical percent 20 hypnotherapist when I click on clinical hypnotherapist here.
Huh. That's very strange.
Yes, it is, because all the websites normally work once everything is fine, but this is what I'm getting here, and I'm seeing it says clinical percentage 20 hypnotherapists.
Let me see what happens when you just put in www.hypnotherapylosangeles.com. Let me see what happens, because I'm getting it.
Let me make sure I spell it right. Hypnotherapy, Los Angeles.
Oh, no, wait, you got an H. You have a PHY. It's got to be PY, hypnotherapy.
It's PY. No. P.
No, THERAPY. Get rid of
the
H.
Okay.
There you go. Try that.
No.
Huh.
And the hip part is fine. HYP.
Yes.
Is there a Y here?
Oh, no. You have an extra Y in there.
That's what I noticed.
HYPNO.
HYPNO. I had hippie.
Yes,
Hypnotherapy.
that won't work. There we go.
I had hypnotherapy. Hypnotherapy.
Hypnotherapy. Hippies don't need it.
So there we go. So this is your clinical practice. So persons can sign up for the newsletter and a free report. 80 things you can do with hypnosis. Does that really work? Do you use that in your practice? Well, obviously you do.
Yes. Very, very powerful tool for creating social and emotional changes. Sure.
Is that like the NLP?
Well, NLP incorporates elements of hypnotherapy. It is another technology, if you will, that I am trained in and certified in and use, and it's part of my synthesis process, which is the bigger process that I use, and the subject of my book, of course. But yeah, NLP is also very powerful, and it combines elements of hypnotherapy, psychotherapy, Gestalt therapy,
Wow.
and it works very, very well. You know, the mind is a very powerful instrument, and when we learn to give the mind the information it needs, it will do a very, very nice job of helping us live the way we want to. And of course, we all deserve that.
How do you use that type of therapy or what you're doing in your coaching for soulmates against persons who are narcissists?
Okay, you have to rephrase that question because I'm not sure exactly what you mean. In other words, someone that's trying to deal with a narcissist?
Yes. Or somewhat, because you know, we earlier in our discussion we spoke about opposites attracting, and there's such an intensity with those two people, somebody who is empathic and somebody who is narcissistic, and because of that, yeah.
I help the person who's empathic realize that the relationship cannot ever work.
Yeah.
Ever. It's impossible.
Cannot ever.
And then I help them.
Oh, you're frozen again, Dr. McGray. Let me see if I can bring up your other website here. Yeah, what were you saying a while ago? Oh, wow. Hold on. Let me get you back here. Because I'm not hearing you. Hold 1 second. You're breaking up.
Help them consolidate their narcissist and feel.
Dr. McGarry, we were pausing. The internet was freezing up on you a while ago. Could you could you repeat what you just said?
Yeah, it's impossible to have a relationship with a narcissist and have a two-way relationship because they are incapable of acknowledging or being empathetic or caring or giving. It's always all about them.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are embroiled narcissist, you're either going to have to get out of the relationship. And if you're a complete empath, then I help those people learn to use their empathy as a gift, but not give up themselves to someone else, because that is always disaster.
Yeah. Quite familiar with that myself.
Yes, narcissism is a sickness. I think it is.
It is a mental disorder.
Yes, they are people who are incapable of seeing another point of view, of being compassionate, of thinking that they could possibly be at fault in any situation. It's an untenable situation.
And these beings are formed same thing up to age 7 or 8, and some of them, Dr. McGrail, are quite proud of being a narcissist.
Yes, well, I suppose some of them are, because they think that they're the center of the universe.
They're gods, mini gods. That's what they think they are. They are gods.
Yes.
It's amazing. And what I find happening is that the society is becoming, or it is quite narcissistic. There are more and more narcissistic people out there than ever.
That may be, and I don't have the science behind that, but we certainly are a more self-centered society. Unfortunately, we've become very imbalanced in that regard, and I agree with you.
This is crazy. So you're trying to find your soulmate, because I could tell you from experience, you think that you have found your soulmate when you meet one of them, because they are like perfect, everything you're looking for. So it's easy to get, as you said, embroiled in it and feel, yes, I've met the one. This is the one. From the time you
Yes.
start feeling that, get the intuition, ting, 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 ting.
Well, what's going to happen is that, shortly after that, when everything is perfect, it won't last very long. And then things are going to start to fall apart. And that's when you have to realize, uh-oh, this is not what I thought it was. That was that initial storm of hormones we talked about. So yes, they can act very, very beautifully in the beginning of a relationship, but their true nature will soon come out. And then it's all about them. It's always your fault.
Yeah.
How could you do this to me, et cetera, et cetera. And then you're not in a good place.
Wow. Well, I wouldn't even say wait till all of that. There are certain signs that you see from in the beginning, and just take your time. Try to not get caught up or sucked in, because it's quite easy to get sucked in with people like them, to feel, yes, you have met the one, and you start feeling that you want to commit and be involved,
Yes.
Yes, you don't want to wait till it's too late, because with them, everything happens fast.
Yes.
And if you find things are happening too
have
fast,
to take some time.
yeah.
You need to take a step back and just watch out. And because some people are so desperate to have a relationship, they're easily overlook things, but the signs are always there. You just have to take your time and allow it to unfold. We live in a society, because of technology, that everybody wants instant gratification. We want everything we want it now. And life, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but thankfully, is a process. So allow the process to unfold. And if you do, and as I said, as we discussed earlier on, if you are whole yourself, if you fixed whatever it is you need to fix about yourself, then it's much easier when you see the red flags to say, no, sorry, this is not going to work for me. And save yourself a lot of pain.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Take your time. Don't rush. And if you feel rushed, get out.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, if you feel rushed, get out. Get out, get out, get out. You're not supposed to feel rushed. Follow that intuition. Get out.
Right. Exactly. Correct.
Anybody's rushing you or you feel rushed, get out. Most likely it's a narcissist, and they're rushing you because they like things to happen fast in the beginning. Just get out. It's going too fast, and from the time you start to tell them to slow down, watch, and you will see that mask coming off. Let me see where your books are at, Dr. McGrail. Tell me where to go. Is it on the Media Press?
Sure. Media Press, and it's under products as well.
Okay, let's have a look.
Well, Media Press is probably most of the shows that I've been doing, but if you click on products, you'll see the books and my tapes.
Okay.
There it is.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
Nice. And they look quite calming too, except for this one with the cigarette. But
well, that's for people who want to quit smoking, and these are my do-it-yourself programs. They're very effective. They're all designed using the same techniques I use in the clinic and with my remote clients. I have clients all over the world. Because we can do a lot of work remotely. And on the left there, you see my book, The Synthesis Effect, which is describes my overall process, which I call neurosynthesis. Nice. Thank you.
Yes, you have been busy.
Yes, I am. And I'm working on a new book that's based on my video series, A Better You, which is the name of my company, in a minute or two. And that'll be, for anybody that's interested, I have a YouTube channel, Dr. John McGrail, and I have a whole series of videos called A Better You in a minute or two. They're short little videos that just present tips and tricks and techniques to help people live more powerfully on a day-to-day basis. And I've been getting great reviews. If you sign up for my newsletter, you can subscribe to that series as well.
Beautiful. I'm going to check out your YouTube channel and follow you as well. A Better You. I'm all open for a better me, a better version of myself, a higher version of myself. That's what we should be aiming for.
On YouTube, it's Dr. John McGrail.
Nice. Keeping it pretty simple. Who would forget
Try
that?
to keep things simple. Well, you'd be surprised.
Thank you so much, Dr. McGrail, for being on Between the Lines, for sharing.
Well, and thank you so very much for having me, Corinne. It's been a delight.
Yes. I just lost your visual there a while ago, but that's okay. Oh. You were still here. You're still here. Your voice was still here. So thank you so much for sharing, and for being vulnerable and letting us know what happened with you. And, hopefully persons, and
Oh, it's my great pleasure.
yeah, we're going into 2019, and it's a time for resolutions. People are looking for love, looking for health, looking for money. Those are the three top things: love, health, and money.
And remember that you're probably going to need a little help to get yourself on the road. And if you get the help, then there's nothing that you can't accomplish. We all
That's
have the
right.
ability of doing whatever we want and living the way we want.
That's right. Once you have the health, the money, and the love, and everything else will follow. Yeah, focus on you.
Yep. Just get the assistance. That's all.
That's
Don't think you can. Everybody needs a little help.
Thank you so much, Dr. McGrail. It's been a pleasure.
You too. Thank you. Bye-bye now.